Arsenal. Arsene Wenger photo by Clive Rose, Getty Images. As it ends, so begins the impossible task for the Arsenal Brain Trust, supposedly without Arsene Wenger, who said he would rather not be part of the replacement process. Ivan Gazidis is in the lead to find someone who can follow up with the infinite legacy of Le Professor, and he gave some pretty clear parameters of what he is expecting. In 3 clear requirements: we want someone who plays progressive, exciting football that gets people interested and excited in games we play. Another significant piece is how the candidate represents the club. It must be someone who gives youth a chance, or essentially, they want someone who is very, very similar to Arsene Wenger, but younger and fresher and with new ideas. It's understandable that Arsenal would have such strict managerial requirements, as Wenger set the standard so high, not just in his successes but, as Gazidis said himself, in the way he represented the club. He was all class, all the time, and that has to be true for whoever comes next. I don't know if anyone will ever be able to passion that Wenger had to make this club succeed, but the best place to start is with these 3 principles, which I believe highlight 3 potential candidates and, yes, they all have something in common. Point 3. Thierry Henry would NT say that I'm thrilled by the idea of Thierry Henry being considered, and he hasn't been heavily linked. But he embodies those 3 principles. He lived that exciting football, he would represent the club, as he was the king. And he would certainly give youth a chance, as he was the academy coach for a short tenure, but a lot of the players that played for him in the youth academy are now reaching the senior level. Check out the latest episode of the Pain in the Arsenal podcast here. That said, he has had some sketchy moments in the past, like not being willing to give up his TV position to coach time. He also lacks significant experience, but we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Maybe he has more credentials and ideas than we see from our vantage point. Page 2 photo by Lawrence Griffiths, Getty Images. Another guy who I didn't initially consider, but who has gradually crept his way into my awareness as a potentially superb appointment, despite his similar lack of experience at the top of the food chain. Not just that, but as a player, I was not a fan. I feel like my opinion of Arteta as a player is the same as Jaka haters' opinions of the Swiss midfielder now. Only I'm right and they're wrong. More from Pain in the Arsenal. That said, not all good players are good managers, and not all subpar players are subpar managers. Arteta was the captain for a reason. Arsene Wenger trusted him, even in the face of criticism. If Wenger trusted him, I do too. Not only that, but anyone who wanted Pep Guardiola can get his right-hand man. He would understand how to play exciting football because he's been helping coordinate it at Manchester City. He would represent the club well because he captained it. And of course he'd give youth a chance. He spent recovery time with the U23s and was a major influence for the youngsters while he was there. It's a choice that would probably ruffle a few feathers, as I don't think everyone would be sold on him, but that's not a derailing factor. Finally, my number 1. Your number 1, even if you don't know it, but is it his? No. Page 3 photo by Alex Menendez, Getty Images. Has been my number 1 for years now because I've had a front row seat to the amazing changes he has made to a New York City FC club that was burdened by old superstars and very little internal growth. Since Vieira has been in town, the club has done nothing but improve. Literally. And they have been doing it without Andrea Pirlo, Frank Lampard and, as of this year, David Villa too, who were the 3 main draws to a sputtering early NYCFC. Now they excel through their own youth development and through slick signings, the likes of which Arsene Wenger would be proud of. Take Alexander Ring, for instance, the exact type of midfielder that the Gunners would love to have, and the kind of under-the-radar pickup that typified Wenger's early years. Vieira has more experience than the other 2 Arsenal men in this post combined, and he would obviously embody the values of the club, as he is one of the few men that have never said a bad word about the club. And if you want to talk about exciting football, do yourself the favor of watching an NYCFC game, then try to tell me they don't play exciting, attacking football. I'll close with a short anecdote. I had the joy of meeting Patrick Vieira about a year ago, and it was the first time in my life I found myself tongue-tied by a sports star. All I could manage to say was "I love Arsenal," to which he laughed and responded, "Me too." Page 4 Arsenal's meaningless has turned around. Over these next few weeks, the final that Arsene Wenger will have as the manager of this club, we will see the resolve of a bunch of players who we have often questioned. And rightly so. Individually, few doubt the talent levels of the players in this squad, but as a whole, they have underachieved massively, with this year being their crowning achievement of mediocrity. Some blame their inability to perform on the lack of urgency. There was no threat to their jobs, so why would they step up and rise to the occasion beyond individual moments of inspiration? Things are different now. Wenger will not be here to protect them this summer, at least assumedly not. He may take on a different role within the club, so these players will be at the whims of someone new. They now have to step up and prove themselves, lest they remain inadequate for the next head man, at which point they will be forced to find a new home, and one that is likely less forgiving than this one. More from pain in the Arsenal. It's a situation that no one on this team has been in before, and, as fans, you will never see a truer indication of what a player is worth than how they show up for the rest of the. Honestly, I think we are going to like what we see. Plus, it is going to end up being a pretty good indication of what to look forward to next year, and that's without the summer transfer window. Then there is the matter of wanting to send Wenger off with the pomp that he deserves, and that should include 0 losses. Wenger timed his announcement like this for a reason, and while seemingly no one saw it coming, now that it's here, it's time for them to answer. All of these players are talking about how much they owe Arsene Wenger. Now is the time to shut up and show it on the pitch while you still can, because there won't be another chance. This is as exciting as it is sad and nervy. Probably more so. These players, a lot of them for the first time, will be operating outside of that protective blanket that they could always cover up with. Let's see who can stand on their own 2 feet.